Good morning, my dear friend. As the first light of dawn begins to stretch across the sky, there is a quiet holiness in this moment. The world is still soft. The air feels lighter. The noise has not yet rushed in to claim your attention. Morning is the hour when the heart is most honest, when the soul is most awake, and when hope has its first chance to speak before fear does. Somewhere right now, someone is sitting at the edge of their bed with tired eyes and a heavy chest. They woke up not because they were rested, but because sleep could no longer protect them from their thoughts. Perhaps that person is you. Maybe you are carrying grief that no one sees, fear that has no clear name, or a loss that changed everything without asking permission. You smile for others, but inside you feel like you are holding your breath, waiting for something to give. There are mornings when strength feels borrowed and courage feels distant. Mornings when yesterday's pain follows you into today, and tomorrow feels uncertain. You may be trying to be faithful while your heart is still bruised. You may be believing while quietly wondering how much longer you can stand. If that is where you are, this moment was not an accident. Faith does not begin with having answers. It begins with showing up. Prayer is not reserved for the strong. It is the place where the weary lay down what they were never meant to carry alone. When you pray, you are not escaping reality. You are stepping into a deeper one, a place where fear no longer has the final word, and where hope is allowed to breathe again. This morning is an invitation to move from the weight of what you see into the strength of what you trust. An invitation to stop fighting in silence and begin a conversation that restores the heart. Faith grows when we allow our pain to meet truth. Prayer becomes powerful when we open ourselves honestly and stay long enough to listen. As we prepare to pray together, let your shoulders relax. Let your breath slow. You do not need perfect words. You do not need to hide your doubts. All that is required is a willing heart. In the quiet of this new day, you are invited to step into a sacred journey, one where healing unfolds, strength is renewed, and what feels impossible begins to lose its grip. If you are ready, open your heart. This is a safe place to begin again. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you in the quiet of this morning with a heart that feels heavy and exposed. I do not come with polished words or strong emotions. I come as I am, carrying thoughts that followed me through the night, and feelings I could not outrun by sleeping. As this new day begins, I admit that I am tired in places no one sees. I feel the weight of worries that have not yet found answers and fears that whisper before my feet even touch the ground. Father, this morning I am honest with you. Some days I wake up with hope, and some days I wake up simply because the night has ended. Today, I acknowledge the ache in my chest, the tightness in my breath, and the quiet questions resting in my mind. I have tried to be strong for others. I have tried to carry responsibility with grace. But right now, I need to rest my heart in your presence without pretending that everything is fine. I bring you the moments that scare me, the memories that still hurt, and the uncertainty that makes the future feel fragile. I confess that there are times when my faith feels small, not because I doubt who you are, but because my strength feels thin. I ask you to meet me here, not after I feel better, not after I have clarity, but right now in this fragile beginning of the day. Father, you see what I cannot explain. You understand the pressure behind my silence and the longing behind my prayers. As the light of morning slowly fills the room, let your presence fill the places inside me that feel dark and unsettled. I am not asking for everything to change at once. I am asking for your nearness to steady me. I am asking for your peace to touch my thoughts before fear takes control. Help me release the need to have all the answers before I trust you. Help me lay down the burden of trying to hold myself together. This morning, I choose honesty over performance. I choose surrender over control. I choose to place my heart in your hands even when it trembles. Father, as this day unfolds, remind me that I do not walk alone. Let your presence be the quiet strength that holds me upright when my emotions feel unsteady. Teach my heart to rest in the truth that you are near, that you see me, and that nothing I carry is too small or too broken to bring before you. Father, as I remain here in your presence, I feel the quiet echo of what I just laid before you. The heaviness has not disappeared, but it has softened, as if my heart has finally stopped running. I am still here, still breathing, still aware of the fragile space between fear and trust. And in this space, I choose to stay with you rather than hide behind strength I no longer have. Lord, I realize how often I try to manage my pain by keeping it unseen. I convince myself that silence is safety, that if I do not speak my wounds, they will not ache as much. But this morning, I sense that hiding has only made me tired. I do not want to stand at a distance anymore. I want to be fully seen, fully known, and still fully held by you. God, there are thoughts I rarely admit, even to myself, thoughts shaped by disappointment, by unanswered prayers, by moments when I felt overlooked or forgotten. I bring them to you now, not carefully arranged, not filtered, but as they truly are. I bring the confusion I carry, the frustration I try to bury, and the fear that rises when I imagine another day like yesterday. I ask you to meet me in this honesty, not with judgment, but with compassion. I am learning that you are not asking me to impress you. You are inviting me to trust you. So I lower the walls I have built around my heart. I stop pretending that I am unaffected. I stop rehearsing the version of myself that appears strong while quietly breaking inside. I stand here as I am, with open hands and an unguarded spirit. Father, look into the places I have tried to protect. See the sorrow I did not have words for, the hope I was afraid to expect, and the weariness that settled deep into my soul. I give you permission to enter every room of my heart, even the ones I have locked away out of fear that they were too messy or too broken. Nothing in me is hidden from you, and nothing in me disqualifies me from your care. Lord, as I allow myself to be seen, I ask you to replace shame with gentleness. Teach me that vulnerability is not weakness, but the doorway to healing. Teach me that being honest before you is not a risk, but a refuge. Let me feel the safety of your presence as I release the need to defend myself. God, steady my breathing as I remain here, Quiet the instinct to withdraw. Help me trust that you do not turn away from my pain, but lean toward it. As this morning continues to unfold, let this openness become the foundation for everything that follows. I choose to stay present. I choose to be real. I choose to believe that being seen by you is where restoration begins. Father, as I remain here in your presence, I feel the quiet echo of what I just laid before you. The heaviness has not disappeared, but it has softened, as if my heart has finally stopped running. I am still here, still breathing, still aware of the fragile space between fear and trust. And in this space, I choose to stay with you rather than hide behind strength I no longer have. Lord, I realize how often I try to manage my pain by keeping it unseen. I convince myself that silence is safety, that if I do not speak my wounds, they will not ache as much. But this morning, I sense that hiding has only made me tired. I do not want to stand at a distance anymore. I want to be fully seen, fully known, and still fully held by you. God, there are thoughts I rarely admit, even to myself, thoughts shaped by disappointment, by unanswered prayers, by moments when I felt overlooked or forgotten. I bring them to you now, not carefully arranged, not filtered, but as they truly are. I bring the confusion I carry, the frustration I try to bury, and the fear that rises when I imagine another day like yesterday. I ask you to meet me in this honesty, not with judgment, but with compassion. I am learning that you are not asking me to impress you. You are inviting me to trust you. So I lower the walls I have built around my heart. I stop pretending that I am unaffected. I stop rehearsing the version of myself that appears strong while quietly breaking inside. I stand here as I am, with open hands and an unguarded spirit. Father, look into the places I have tried to protect. See the sorrow I did not have words for, the hope I was afraid to expect, and the weariness that settled deep into my soul. I give you permission to enter every room of my heart, even the ones I have locked away out of fear that they were too messy or too broken. Nothing in me is hidden from you, and nothing in me disqualifies me from your care. Lord, as I allow myself to be seen, I ask you to replace shame with gentleness. Teach me that vulnerability is not weakness, but the doorway to healing. Teach me that being honest before you is not a risk, but a refuge. Let me feel the safety of your presence as I release the need to defend myself. God, steady my breathing as I remain here. Quiet the instinct to withdraw. Help me trust that you do not turn away from my pain, but lean toward it. As this morning continues to unfold, let this openness become the foundation for everything that follows. I choose to stay present. I choose to be real. I choose to believe that being seen by you is where restoration begins. Lord, as I stay open before you, I begin to notice the quiet that follows honesty. It is not an empty quiet, but a waiting one. And I confess that waiting has often been the hardest place for me. When answers do not arrive quickly, my mind searches for meaning and my heart grows restless. I want clarity, direction, and relief. Yet so often what I receive first is silence. Today, I bring that silence to you instead of running from it. God, There are prayers I have spoken more than once. Prayers that feel unfinished, as if they are still suspended in the air. I admit that at times I have mistaken delay for absence and quiet for rejection. I have wondered if I misunderstood you or if my hopes were misplaced. This morning I name that confusion without shame. I lay it before you and ask you to teach me how to wait without losing trust. Father, help me understand that silence is not emptiness. Help me remember that growth often happens beneath the surface, where I cannot see it forming, when I do not hear immediate answers. Remind me that you are still present and still attentive. Train my heart to resist the urge to measure your faithfulness by speed or outcome. Lord, there are moments when waiting makes me question my own worth, as if unanswered prayers reflect something lacking within me. I release that lie into your care. I ask you to anchor my confidence not in results, but in your character. Let my faith learn to stand even when understanding falls short. Let my hope remain alive even when progress feels invisible. God, give me the patience that does not grow bitter and the endurance that does not grow cold. When my thoughts race ahead to worst-case scenarios, gently draw them back into this moment. Help me stay present instead of predicting disappointment. Teach me to breathe deeply in the space between asking and receiving. Father, I choose to trust you in this quiet place. I choose to believe that delay is not denial and that waiting is not wasted. As this day unfolds, let my heart remain steady even when answers are still forming. I place my unanswered questions in your hands and allow this waiting to become a place where deeper trust begins to take root. Father, even as I sit with the quiet places that feel unfinished, something deeper begins to rise within me. Not resolution, not clarity, but a stirring, a gentle pull that reminds me I have not been alone in any of this. In the stillness of waiting, I remember that you are not only the one who hears me, but the one who never changes. And it is here, in this steady truth, that I place my trust again. Lord, I confess that I often let the weight of my circumstances speak louder than your voice. I forget what is true when the world feels uncertain. I look for reassurance in things that shift and fade, people's words, outcomes, routines, the approval I quietly chase. But today I want to come back to the center, back to the place where truth is not based on feelings, but on who you are. I need you to anchor me again in the unchanging reality of your nature. God, you have not moved. You have not grown tired of my weakness. You have not altered your love because of my doubt. You are still merciful, still wise, still patient. You are still full of compassion, still slow to anger, still near to those who feel broken. These are not just phrases I have heard, they are the foundation I need when everything around me feels too fragile to hold. Father, I remember the times when you carried me without me even realizing it. I look back and see moments when the burden should have been too much, yet somehow I made it through. I remember doors that opened at just the right time, not because I deserved it, but because you are faithful. I remember the peace that came unexpectedly, the comfort that found me when I had run out of words. And if you were that then, you are that still. Lord, Help me hold on to what does not change. Let your character be the compass when my emotions send me in different directions. Let your word be the firm ground beneath me when my thoughts become shaky. I am not asking for a sign today. I am asking for a settled heart. A heart that chooses to rest in what is eternal, not in what is temporary. God, when I forget who I am, remind me of who you are. When I measure my worth by my failures or delays, remind me that your grace is not performance-based. When fear whispers that nothing will shift, remind me that you are the God who makes a way even when there seems to be none. Your nature does not depend on my feelings. You are not moved by confusion. You are not limited by time. You are not threatened by impossibility. Father, today I choose to return to this simple truth. You are good, even when the day feels hard. You are strong, even when I feel weak. You are present, even when I feel alone. I do not have to understand everything to trust you. I only have to remember that you are still the same one who created, who redeems, who restores, and who stays. Let this remembering steady my breath and quiet the noise. Let it lift my eyes from what is missing to what has always been. I may not have clarity about everything ahead, but I do not have to walk forward in fear, because when I remember who you are, I remember that I am safe, and that is enough for this day. Father, as I continue resting in the truth of who you are, something tender begins to rise in me, a longing to let go of what I have carried far too long. I feel the quiet nudge that tells me I cannot move forward freely while holding tightly to what has wounded me. I bring to you now what I rarely speak aloud. The weight of resentment, the ache of disappointment, the memories that still sting in the hidden corners of my heart. Lord, you know every name, every word, every silence that has left a mark on my spirit. You know the situations that left me confused, the conversations that never found resolution, the moments when trust broke and was never repaired. I have tried to carry these things with dignity, but even when I pretend they are light, they press down with heaviness. I want to be free, but bitterness is subtle. It builds slowly. It hides beneath strength. It pretends to protect when it is only chaining me to the past. God, I am not here to excuse what was done or minimize how it affected me. I am not trying to forget what shaped me. I am here to release what no longer serves my soul. I am here to ask for the courage to forgive, not because it feels easy, because I do not want to live trapped in pain that never finds peace. I need you to teach me what forgiveness really means. Not a quick phrase, not a forced smile, but a deep surrender of what I cannot fix. Father, I name the heaviness now. I name the grief that follows betrayal, the sadness that lingers after broken trust, the frustration that rises when justice feels far away. I bring you the quiet anger that I have buried in order to function. I bring the guarded places where I still flinch at reminders, and with trembling hands, I ask you to begin untangling the knots inside me. Lord, show me how to forgive when the apology never came. Show me how to release even when the wound still hurts. Show me how to choose freedom over vengeance and peace over pride. I cannot do this in my own strength, but with you, all things become possible, even the healing of a heart that has been hardened by disappointment. God, help me release not just the person or the moment, but the story I have told myself about it. Help me stop replaying the scene where I was wronged or misunderstood. Help me stop rehearsing what I should have said or how it should have gone. Let me step out of the courtroom I have built in my mind and walk into the wide space of your grace. Father, I also bring to you the places where I have caused pain. I do not want to carry guilt any more than I want to carry bitterness. I ask you to forgive me for the words I spoke in anger, the actions I took in fear, the silences I allowed when I should have shown love. I ask for healing where my choices created wounds. I ask for restoration where I broke what mattered. Let your mercy meet my regret, and let your kindness lead me to grow. Lord, in this moment, I place every offense into your hands. Every injustice, every misunderstanding, every silent goodbye. I do not know how you will handle it all, but I trust that you are just and merciful. I trust that you are not ignoring what happened, but that you are transforming it into something that no longer controls me. God, let the act of forgiveness become a doorway to peace. Let it be the start of a new story where I am no longer defined by what they did or did not do, but by how you continue to heal and restore me. Let my heart become light again, unburdened by grudges that steal my joy. Let my voice rise not with accusation, but with praise for the freedom that only you can give. Father, help me release the story of being the victim and embrace the story of being made whole. Let forgiveness become a quiet strength in me, not a weakness. Let it mark me not with defeat, but with resilience. I may not forget what happened, but I refuse to let it dictate who I become. As this new day unfolds, let me walk lighter, think kinder, speak softer, and live freer. Let the one who hurt me no longer have access to my peace. Let the pain they caused no longer shape my decisions. And let the weight I carried for so long finally fall from my shoulders as I entrust it all into your care. Lord, now that I have laid down the weight of resentment and stepped into the freedom of release, I feel something stirring deeper, still a quiet invitation to look inward with honesty and grace, not to shame myself, not to dig through the past with harsh judgment, but to allow you into the hidden rooms I rarely visit. This morning, I open the doors inside me that have remained closed for too long, and I ask you to enter with light, not accusation. Father, I bring you the thoughts I try to ignore, the ones that drift in and settle when I am too tired to resist. I bring you the patterns that I know are not from you, but have stayed because they feel familiar. I bring you the quiet pride that pretends to be self-protection, the subtle envy that whispers when others succeed, the judgment I carry even when I dress it in silence. I do not want to be a surface that looks clean while the deeper places remain untouched. God, I ask you to examine my motives. Search the reasons behind my actions, the desires behind my prayers, the expectations behind my obedience. If there is anything in me that performs for praise or manipulates to feel safe, reveal it gently. I am not afraid of conviction when it comes from you. because your truth never wounds without healing. You do not expose to embarrass. You reveal to restore. Lord, cleanse me from the inside out, not just my words, but my tone, not just my actions, but my intentions, not just my choices, but the posture of my heart before I make them. Let nothing in me remain hidden if it is blocking the flow of your peace. I do not want to carry hidden bitterness, quiet arrogance, or silent resentment toward myself or others. Let your presence be like water cleansing, softening, renewing every place where I have grown stale or stubborn. Father, I ask you to remove the habits that numb me, the distractions that dull my spirit, the escapes that promise relief but leave me more empty. Help me face what I have avoided. Help me walk through discomfort instead of circling around it. Give me the strength to choose integrity when shortcuts feel easier, to choose patience when my impulses want control, and to choose honesty when silence feels safer. God, purify my imagination. Let my thoughts reflect what is noble and worthy, not what is fearful or small. Guard my eyes from lingering on what steals joy. Guard my ears from craving gossip disguised as concern. Guard my lips from speaking too quickly, too carelessly, too much. Let my words carry grace without losing truth. Let my silence hold wisdom without avoiding responsibility. Lord, I want my inner life to match the peace I pray for. I want my spirit to be a place where you feel at home, not one where you are only invited into certain corners. If I have made space for bitterness, cleanse it. If I have tolerated excuses for too long, expose them. If I have excused attitudes that poison my joy, uproot them. Not because I fear punishment, but because I long for freedom. Father, I ask you to renew my sense of conviction, not the kind that beats me down, but the kind that lifts me toward wholeness. Let me be quick to listen when your spirit prompts me. Let me be tender to correction, humble enough to change, bold enough to start again. Let repentance be something I welcome, not dread, because I trust that your kindness always leads me back to life. God, fill the places I have emptied, where guilt once sat. Place peace, where shame lingered. Place dignity, where old lies echoed. Place truth that settles deep and stays long. Let your presence be the fragrance that fills every room within me. Let it be evident not just in how I speak, but in how I love, how I serve, how I forgive, how I wait, how I think when no one is watching. As I go into this day, let me carry no hidden weight, no quiet poison, no unconfessed compromise. Let this be a fresh beginning, not because I made it perfect, but because I open myself completely to you. I know that real transformation happens, not when I try harder, but when I allow you to clean what I can no longer ignore. So I remain here, open and still, asking you to make all things new within me. Father, now that I have welcomed your cleansing light into the quiet rooms of my soul, I feel a new kind of space opening inside me, not empty, but waiting to be filled with something steady. I no longer want to live moved by every feeling, tossed by every wave of thought or moment of pressure. I long for something deeper than calm. I long for peace that does not waver with the world. I come now asking not only for relief, but for peace that guards. Lord, you see how often my mind runs in circles. Even when I sit still, my thoughts race forward. I try to plan for things I cannot control, replay conversations that have already passed, and carry outcomes I was never meant to hold. Sometimes I confuse overthinking with responsibility, anxiety with awareness. I try to stay ahead of fear by outthinking it, but all I do is exhaust myself. I need your peace, not the fleeting kind. Not the kind that depends on everything going right, but the kind that holds me even when nothing is clear. God, I surrender my mental noise to you. The narratives I build in my mind, the imagined worst-case outcomes, the quiet fear that if I am not vigilant, something will fall apart. I give you the pressure I place on myself to be composed, productive, and in control. I give you the weight of my inner dialogue, especially the parts that are critical and unkind. I ask you to speak louder than the fear, deeper than the doubt, and clearer than the confusion. I need the voice of peace to rise within me. Father, teach me to separate pressure from purpose. Show me where I am striving for perfection when you are inviting me into trust. Let peace become not just a place I visit, but the place I live. Let it be the atmosphere I carry into every room. I want to respond from rest, not from reactivity. I want to hear before I answer, breathe before I act, and pause before I assume. Let peace be the gatekeeper of my thoughts, the protector of my reactions, the filter through which I see the world. Lord, remind me that peace is not found in perfect conditions, but in proximity to you. Let me be aware of your presence in this very moment. Let me choose to be here, not pulled backward by regret or forward by fear, but grounded in today when my emotions rise. Help me return to stillness when panic taps on the door of my mind. Help me remember I do not have to let it in. When things feel urgent, remind me that wisdom waits and peace listens. God, I ask you to place peace around the borders of my day like a gentle hedge. Let it protect from things I am not meant to carry. Let it help me say no without guilt, rest without shame, and move without rushing. Let peace settle in my body where stress has lived too long. Let it soften the tension in my shoulders, loosen the grip in my chest, and quiet the spinning in my thoughts. Let me feel it like a steady rhythm, keeping time with your heartbeat. Father, I want the kind of peace that holds steady even when I am misunderstood, the kind that stays rooted when circumstances shift, the kind that stands firm when the storm is still present. I want the peace that comes from trusting you with what I cannot fix, cannot change, and cannot predict. The peace that does not need constant confirmation to stay alive. Let this peace be evidence of your presence within me, not just a break from trouble, but a deeper reality that reshapes how I live. Lord, if my thoughts drift today, bring them back gently. If I forget, remind me kindly. If I fall into worry again, meet me with mercy, not shame. Let this journey of peace not be about perfection, but about practice. Let each small return to stillness be a victory. Let each quiet choice to trust be an offering. Let each time I choose to breathe and release be another stone placed on the path of becoming whole. God, I also ask you to help me protect the peace of others. Let my words not stir fear or provoke pressure. Let my presence not add to the weight people are already carrying. Let me listen more than I speak, and speak from truth more than opinion. Let me not react from insecurity, but respond from peace. Make me a safe place for others to exhale, a calm voice in a noisy moment, a reflection of the stillness I have found in you. As this day continues, let peace not be something I wait for, but something I walk in. Let it go ahead of me into every meeting, every conversation, every unknown. Let it hold me when things go right, and when they do not. Let it guide me when I am unsure, and carry me when I grow weary. Let peace be my posture, my position, and my promise, because you are near and I am yours. Father, now that peace has entered and begun to settle the noise within me, I feel ready to move again, but gently, not rushing, not in panic. Something in me is starting to shift from surviving the moment to stepping into what comes next. But I come to you first, because even though peace has softened my spirit, I still feel the weight of all that lies ahead. I know that without your strength, even small steps feel too big. Lord, you know the demands of this day before I do. You see the decisions that will require clarity, the conversations that may test my patience, the distractions waiting to pull me in every direction. You know the responsibilities I carry, some visible to others, some hidden deep inside. And you know how quickly tiredness sets in when I try to hold it all alone. So I bring you this day and ask for your strength, not strength that overwhelms or pressures, but strength that fits this moment exactly as it is. God, give me strength that flows quietly, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that stands tall when no one sees. Let it rise like breath in my lungs and steadiness in my hands. Let it show up in how I face inconvenience without complaint, how I choose compassion when I feel impatient, how I keep going when progress feels invisible. I do not need a dramatic breakthrough to know you are with me. I need the kind of strength that helps me take the next right step. Father, help me resist the pull to do everything at once. Help me stop measuring success by speed or scale. Remind me that today is not a race but a rhythm. Show me what truly matters and what can wait. Help me to move with intention instead of impulse, to build quietly instead of striving endlessly, to rest in between without guilt. Give me the wisdom to honor my limits without surrendering my purpose. Lord, I ask for strength not just in body but in spirit. When my emotions threaten to cloud my perspective, anchor me. When discouragement whispers that nothing is changing, remind me of all that you have already begun. When I feel too small for what I must face, remind me that you are not asking me to do it alone. Strengthen me to stay faithful, not flawless. Steady me to endure the small, unseen tasks that build something lasting over time. God, let your strength meet me in the ordinary. Let it find me in the hallway between meetings, in the silence after the phone call, in the quiet choice to speak life instead of criticism. Let it live in my tone, my posture, my pace. Let it be present when I set boundaries, when I forgive again, when I trust instead of control. Let your strength come not only in the urgent, but in the unnoticed places where true character is formed. Father, I also pray for strength in the waiting. Not everything I long for will happen today. Not every answer will come quickly, but I do not want my hope to depend on pace. I want it to depend on promise. Help me wait without resentment, trust without proof, obey without applause. Let my strength be measured not by how loud I move, but by how faithfully I stay rooted in you. Lord, when fatigue comes, and I know it will be the one who lifts my chin and reminds me that rest is not weakness. When I start to compare my journey with someone else's, redirect my eyes to the grace assigned to my path. When I feel behind, remind me that you are not in a hurry with my becoming. When I feel overlooked, remind me that you see all things, even the quiet victories no one applauds. God, give me courage to ask for help when I need it. Let me not wear independence like armor. Let me not hide exhaustion out of pride. Show me the beauty of shared burdens, the strength of community, the safety of admitting I cannot do this alone. Surround me with those who speak life into me, and give me the humility to receive what you send through others. As I step into this day, Lord, help me stop obsessing over the whole picture and simply take the next small, faithful step. Whether it is showing up with kindness, choosing silence over reaction, doing the work no one sees, or saying yes to something that scares me, remind me that each step matters. Remind me that faith is not only shown in leaps, but in steady walking. Remind me that strength is not always loud, it is often quiet, anchored, and unseen, but no less powerful. So I breathe in this moment and offer it to you. I take today, not as a mountain I must conquer, but as a path I will walk with you, step by step, choice by choice, breath by breath. I trust that the strength I need will not arrive all at once, but exactly when it is needed, and that will always be enough. Father, as I continue walking in the quiet strength you provide, I now find myself facing places that feel still, places that feel shut. I know that not everything will move when I want it to. Not every opportunity will open at my knocking. Not every answer will come on my timeline. And so I bring you these moments, the ones where I have tried, prayed, waited, and still the door remains closed. I bring you the closed spaces in my life, not with bitterness, but with surrender. Lord, you see the situations I long to move forward in. You know the ones I keep circling in my thoughts, the job that has not changed, the relationship that has not healed, the dream that seems to stall, the prayer that feels stuck between heaven and earth. I have knocked gently. I have pressed persistently. And still, nothing has shifted. Today, instead of pushing harder, I place the entire door in your hands. You know whether it is meant to open, and you know when. God, remind me that closed doors are not always rejection. Sometimes they are protection. Sometimes they are redirection. Sometimes they are invitations to trust deeper, not strive harder. Teach me to stop measuring progress by motion. Help me release my grip on outcomes I have been trying to control. Let me find rest in knowing that if you have not opened the door, then I am not late, lost, or less. I am simply held in timing I may not yet understand. Father, Show me how to stay faithful when there is no visible change. Let my obedience not depend on results. Let my trust not depend on signs. Let me worship while I wait. Let me serve with joy even when I cannot see where the path leads. Give me the grace to keep my heart soft and my hands open, even when disappointment tries to harden me. Lord, I ask you to speak into my frustration. I ask you to calm the part of me that wants to force a way forward. I confess that I have tried to create my own openings at times, leaning on human plans instead of spiritual wisdom. Forgive me for the moments I pushed past your peace, chasing opportunity that did not carry your blessing. Bring me back to a place of trust, where your timing defines my steps. God, remind me that you hold the keys, that you open doors no one can shut, and you shut doors no one can open. Let this truth settle deeper than my urgency. Let it quiet the fear that tells me I will miss what is meant for me. Let it silence the noise of comparison, where others seem to move ahead while I remain waiting. You are not slow. You are not absent. You are present in the pause, working in ways I do not see. Father, if this door is one you intend to open, then strengthen me to wait with hope and not with restlessness. Give me eyes to see how you are preparing me while I wait. Shape my character, deepen my faith, build my resilience, and refine my motives. Do not let the waiting be wasted. Do not let delay define me. Let it be the ground where my trust grows roots. But if this door is one you have gently closed, then give me the courage to stop knocking. Let me not cling to what you are asking me to release. Let me not mourn what was never mine to carry. Let me bless the door, even in its closing, knowing that you are guiding me into something better, something aligned with your wisdom and grace. Let me walk away not in defeat, but in peace. Lord, I also ask you to help me discern the difference between closed and not yet. Speak into my confusion with clarity. If I am waiting where you have not asked me to wait, redirect me with gentleness. If I am called to persevere longer, infuse me with patient hope. Let me not confuse stillness with stagnation. Let me not label a season as finished when is only in preparation. God, while I stand before what feels sealed, help me remember that you are never stuck. You are never limited by what limits me. You can breathe on dry bones. You can speak through silence. You can bring light through the smallest crack. If this door does open, let it be because you touched it, not because I forced it. Let the opening be marked by peace, not by pressure. Father, I trust that you are doing something even in this unmoving place. I trust that what looks like delay may be the very space where you are preparing something deeper in me. And I trust that whatever you withhold, you do so with love. You are not punishing me with waiting. You are walking with me through it. So let my heart remain steady even when the answer is not yet. Let my posture be one of worship, not weariness. Let my voice still praise you in front of closed doors, not because I enjoy them, but because I know who holds the keys. As I take the next steps through today, give me peace even in the presence of things that have not moved. Give me hope even when the path is not clear. And give me trust that does not fade in the face of stillness. Whether you open the door or ask me to turn away, let me move with you and not without you. Let the rhythm of your will guide the direction of my steps. Father, now that I have placed the unopened doors into your care, I find myself reaching for something just as important, faith for what I cannot yet see, even when some doors stay shut. I believe you are still working behind them, even in places that look dry or still. I believe you are not absent. I come to you this morning not only for direction, but for vision to see what you have already placed near me, that I have overlooked. Lord, I confess how easily I fall into patterns of scarcity. I look around and see what is missing. I measure progress by how much I lack. I assume then, because something has not arrived in the way I imagined, then it must not be coming. But you are the God of hidden wells and unseen streams. You are the God who provides before I know I need, who prepares long before I ask. You are the God of enough even when I feel not enough. God, I bring you my perception. I bring you the places where I have wrongly labeled things as nothing. I have said, there is no way forward, when you were already making one. I have said, there is no help, while you were sending support I could not yet recognize. I have said, there is no provision, as if the absence of evidence meant the absence of promise. Forgive me for forgetting that just because I cannot see it yet does not mean it is not already on its way. Father, open my eyes today, not just my physical eyes, but the eyes of my heart. Let me see what you have planted that I have walked past. Let me recognize the people you have placed around me as gifts instead of obstacles. Let me see the wisdom in closed doors, the mercy in slow answers, the love in delayed timing. Let me notice the small things and stop calling them insignificant. Lord, show me the well in the wilderness. Show me the hope buried beneath the dust. Show me the provision that has been waiting, not because it was far away, but because I was too discouraged to see it. Clear away the fog of worry and the distractions of comparison. Give me the kind of clarity that restores wonder, the kind that looks at what I do have and says, this is enough for now. God, I ask you to shift my focus from absence to abundance, not the loud kind, not the flashy kind, but the quiet kind that carries peace. Teach me to see strength in rest, purpose in process, blessing in small beginnings. Remind me that provision is not always obvious. Sometimes it is hidden in conversations, opportunities I was not expecting, or the courage to begin again after disappointment. Father, let me be someone who does not miss the miracle, because it does not look like I imagined. Let me not disregard what you have placed in front of me just because it came in a form I did not ask for. Let me receive without resistance. Let me celebrate what is present without resenting what is delayed. Teach me to trust that if I need it, you will provide it, and if it has not arrived, then I am still whole without it. Lord, I pray today for the provision I have not seen yet, not only provision for my body, but provision for my mind clarity where there has been confusion, provision for my heart peace where there has been unrest, provision for my relationships grace where there has been tension, provision for my purpose direction where there has been silence. You are not limited to one way, one route, one method. You can provide through open windows, unexpected detours, and even quiet whispers when the noise has stopped. God, Remind me that provision is not always something new. Sometimes it is something already here that needs to be rediscovered. Sometimes what I need is not missing, it is simply misunderstood. Sometimes what I call not enough becomes more than enough. When blessed by you, I give you my 5 loaves and 2 fish. I give you my tired faith, my uncertain thoughts, my partial plans. I give you the little I have, believing that in your hands, it can become more than I need. Father, even when I do not feel it, let me act in trust. Let me live today as if provision is near. Let me make decisions with the confidence that I am being sustained. Let me speak with gratitude even before the breakthrough arrives. Let me rest without guilt, knowing you are working behind the scenes. I may not understand the process, but I trust the provider. Lord, thank you for what you have already given me that I have failed to notice. Thank you for the friendships I take for granted, the opportunities I almost walked past, the strength you gave me on days I did not ask. Thank you for the grace that sustained me through nights of uncertainty and the courage you placed inside me even when I felt fragile. Thank you for the daily provision of your presence, which has always been more than enough. God, help me stop waiting for more before I start living like I am cared for. Let my posture today be one of faith, not fear. Let my actions be shaped by trust, not desperation. Let my words reflect gratitude instead of anxiety. Let my spirit reflect the truth that even if I cannot see it yet, you are faithful to provide not just once, but again and again. As I continue through this day, I choose to walk as if you are providing even now. I choose to believe that you are already ahead of me, already preparing what I will need for tomorrow. I choose to hold open hands, to receive what I do not expect, and to release the fear of running out. You are not a distant God who provides occasionally. You are my constant, my source, my steady provision even in wilderness places. Especially there. Father, now that I have begun to recognize your unseen provision and trust that what I need will meet me in the right time and place, I find myself facing something more tender, beneath my striving, beneath the waiting, beneath the faith. I feel the ache that still pulses in quiet places within me, the wounds that have not fully closed, the emotions that resurface when I least expect, the quiet pain that no one else sees. Come to you now not just for strength or guidance, but for healing, deep, patient, lasting healing that only you can bring. Lord, I know that healing rarely comes all at once. It arrives slowly, like the dawn, like a wound knitting together beneath the surface while I go on with my days. But sometimes I feel frustrated with the process. I want to be better already. I want to feel whole already. I want to forget what hurt me, silence the echoes, and move on as if it never happened. And yet, in your mercy, you do not rush me. You meet me in the middle of the H, in the mess, in the slowness. You are not disappointed with how long it is taking. You are not ashamed of my weakness. God, I bring you what still hurts. The conversations that left me feeling small. The losses I never fully grieved. The seasons where I felt abandoned. Not only by people but even by hope. I bring you the memories that still feel sharp around the edges, the names I avoid in my mind, the dreams that shattered in silence. I bring you the pressure I have put on myself to get over it, and the weight I carry from pretending it does not affect me anymore. Father, if healing is a journey, then walk with me through each step. Sit with me in the days when I feel nothing has changed. Hold me when I am too tired to speak. Strengthen me when I am tempted to numb the pain or run from the discomfort. Remind me that healing is not about pretending the wound was never there. It is about letting your love touch every part of it, until the scar no longer carries shame, but tells a story of redemption. Lord, I ask for healing in my body for every place where pain lingers, for the fatigue I carry without answers, for the tension I have learned to ignore. Bring restoration to what is broken, alignment to what is out of balance, and energy to what feels depleted. But I also ask for healing in my mind for the thoughts that spiral, the beliefs I have internalized that do not reflect your truth, the fears that replay louder than your voice. And I ask for healing in my emotions for the grief I have not named, the anger I have swallowed, the sorrow I have buried beneath productivity. God, touch every layer of me. I do not want to live from a place of survival. I want to live from a place of peace. I want to respond from wholeness, not pain. I want to trust people without flinching, love freely without guarding, and hope again without cynicism. Let your healing not only restore me, but soften me. Let it make me more compassionate, more gentle, more aware of the pain others carry too. Father, show me that progress is not always visible. Some days the healing may look like tears I finally allow to fall. Some days it may look like choosing rest instead of pushing through. Some days it may simply be not reacting the way I used to. Let me celebrate the small signs that something is shifting, even if I cannot explain it. Let me honor the pace of healing, even when it feels slow or silent. Lord, I also lift up the places where I have tried to heal alone, the parts of my story I have kept hidden, even from myself. If there are things I have pushed into the corners of my soul because they felt too big or too broken, help me bring them into the light, not to be exposed, but to be embraced. Lead me to safe people if I need support. Give me courage to ask for help, wisdom to receive it, and humility to stay open. God, I release the timeline I have placed on my recovery. I release the shame I have carried for still being in process. I release the inner voice that says I should be further along. You are not hurried with me. You are not measuring my worth by how quickly I heal. You are shaping something deeper in me, something that could only be formed in this space where I learn to depend on you, in the quiet, in the slow, in the unseen. Father, I ask you to remind me that healing is part of the promise, that you are not only the God who saves and provides, but the God who restores. You do not just carry me through pain. You restore what was lost. You redeem what was broken. You breathe life into dry places and call them whole again. Let that promise echo louder than my pain today. Let it anchor me when I feel undone. As I move through today, I choose to let healing be enough. Even if I am not fully there yet, I am further than I was. Even if I still feel tender, I am not who I used to be. Even if tears come, they are evidence that I am still soft. still alive, still open. I trust that what you have begun in me, you will be faithful to complete. And so I keep showing up. I keep surrendering. I keep healing layer by layer, day by day, in the safe hands of the one who never rushes what he values. Father, as I continue walking through the layers of healing you are unfolding in me, I sense another call rising quietly within my soul, a call to courage. Not the loud, fearless kind the world celebrates, but the sacred kind that stands when trembling. The kind that says yes to you even when my knees shake. The kind that does not deny fear, but refuses to be led by it. Today, I bring you my fear, not to hide it, but to surrender it. Lord, you see the spaces where fear still lingers. It hides beneath logic and disguises itself as caution. It waits quietly in the corners of my decisions, whispering, "What if it goes wrong?" just as I begin to hope again. Fear has worn many masks in my life: rejection, failure, loss, not being enough. And even when I think I have overcome it, it finds new ways to speak. But I no longer want fear to have the first word in my thoughts or the final say in my choices. God, I do not want to live small. I do not want to let what scares me shape what I build, where I go, or who I become. I want to live awake. I want to live brave. And I know I cannot do that without you walking beside me. Courage is not something I can summon through willpower. It is something that grows when I remember who is with me. So I am not asking you to take away every fear. I am asking you to be louder than the fear, to be nearer than the danger I imagine, to be my center when everything else feels uncertain. Father, speak into my inner dialogue. Silence the voice that says I will fail before I try. Quiet the echo that reminds me of past disappointments. I am not who I used to be. You have brought me through too much for me to keep living in retreat. I ask you to strengthen my inner life so that I no longer avoid the hard thing just because it feels unfamiliar. Let courage grow in me in the places where I once shrank back. Let it rise slowly, faithfully, deeply rooted in trust, not performance. Lord, I bring you the situations where fear still steals my peace, the decisions I have postponed, the conversations I have avoided, the dreams I have delayed because the risk felt too heavy. I name them now, not to dwell in anxiety, but to open space for you to speak truth. If you are calling me into something, then fear is not my guide, faith is. Remind me that courage is not the absence of fear, but obedience in spite of it. God, give me the kind of courage that is not reckless, but rooted, the kind that discerns wisely, but does not freeze, the kind that moves when you say move, even when it does not all make sense. I do not want to be someone who only obeys when the path is clear. I want to be someone who trusts you enough to take the next step, even if I can see the whole staircase. Give me courage to show up fully, to speak truth with love, to take chances on what you have placed in my heart. Father, when fear comes today, and I know it might, let it not rule me. Let it not paralyze me. Let it not convince me that I am alone. When fear tells me that I am not enough, remind me that you are more than enough. When it tells me I will fail again, remind me that failure is never the end in your story. When it tells me to stay quiet, remind me that my voice carries light. When it tells me I am too broken to be used, remind me that you build beauty from dust. Lord, I also ask for courage in the small things, not just the big leaps, but the quiet moments where I choose to speak kindly instead of staying guarded. The times when I choose to forgive when it feels safer to protect my heart. The moments I stay when I feel like running, or say yes when everything in me wants to retreat. Let courage rise in my tone, in my eyes, in how I carry myself through this day. God, I ask you to show me examples of courage all around me. Remind me that bravery looks different for everyone. It might look like resting when I feel pressure to perform. It might look like saying no when I am afraid of disappointing others. It might look like asking for help or starting again. Let me honor courage in others without comparing their story to mine. Let me walk boldly in my own journey, knowing that you are writing something beautiful through each step I dare to take. Father, help me raise my eyes above fear's forecast. Let me not shape my life around what could go wrong, but around what you can make right. Let me not build walls where you are calling me to plant seeds. Let me not hesitate where you are leading me to pour out. You are my protector, my strength, my reassurance. Fear will not make my choices. Love will. Truth will. Your voice will. So today, as I move through each hour, I choose courage not because I feel brave, but because you are with me. I may feel fear, but I will not follow it. I will acknowledge it, breathe through it, and keep going. I will speak life even when my voice shakes. I will do what I am called to, even with trembling hands. I will remember that courage is not the absence of weakness, but the willingness to show up with faith in the middle of it. And by your grace, that is exactly what I will do. Father, as courage takes root in me not because I am fearless, but because I trust you more than I trust fear, I find myself standing in the long space between and where I began and where I hope to be. It is not the start anymore. It is not yet the finish. It is the middle, the in-between, the place where momentum slows, where results are not yet visible, and where doubt tries to whisper louder than faith. So I come to you now, not asking to skip ahead, but to remain faithful in this middle ground. Lord, I admit that the middle can feel messy. It is where the thrill of beginning has worn off, and the celebration of breakthrough is still far away. It is where questions rise more easily than answers, where progress feels like circles, and where I am tempted to give in to discouragement. But I believe you are just as present here as you were when I first said yes. I believe you are working just as deeply now as when the journey began. So even in the unseen, even in the stretch, I choose to stay rooted. God, strengthen my spirit for the slow days. The days when nothing feels different, when prayers seem to echo back, when discipline feels like duty. Teach me that this part matters, that these quiet, ordinary steps of obedience are not wasted, that faithfulness is not about constant excitement, but about staying when it would be easier to walk away. Let me not romanticize the starting line or idolize the finish line, but honor the sacred beauty of this middle space where character is shaped. Father, Help me resist the urge to measure everything. Not every season is for reaping. Some are for sowing. Some are for resting. Some are for growing roots in silence. Remind me that just because I do not see results does not mean there is no movement. A seed beneath the soil is not dead, it is becoming. So even when I cannot see the change, let me believe in it. Even when I feel stuck, remind me that you are never still. You are always working, always shaping, always sustaining. Lord, protect me from comparison. The middle becomes heavier when I look at someone else's highlight reel while I am still in process. Help me keep my eyes on my path, my heart in alignment with you, and my spirit anchored in truth. Let me celebrate others without resenting my own pace. Let me trust that you are not late with me, and that delay is not denial. Let the middle teach me trust that does not depend on visibility. God, remind me that faith is not a feeling. It is a decision, a declaration, a daily returning to what I know about you, even when what I feel wants to run in the opposite direction. Help me lean into consistency over emotion. Help me choose to show up, even when motivation fades. Let faith become my rhythm, not my reaction. Let it be planted deeper than mood, deeper than energy, deeper than comfort. Father, I bring you the areas where I have grown weary. I bring the parts of the journey where disappointment has tried to settle in. I bring the routines that feel repetitive, the dreams that feel far, and the questions that remain unanswered. I am not asking you to rush me out of this place. I am asking you to make me faithful in it. Strengthen my hands for the work that is mine to do today. Teach me the power of small steps, the holiness of unseen moments, and the reward of steady perseverance. Lord, renew my joy in the middle. Let it not be stolen by impatience or drained by frustration. Let laughter still find me here. Let wonder still surprise me. Let gratitude rise even when nothing changes externally. Let me find beauty in small victories, peace in quiet progress, and meaning in mundane faithfulness. Remind me that you see every step, every tear, every act of obedience, and that you are not waiting to love me more once I arrive. You are with me here, now, fully. God, I ask you to breathe fresh hope into the places that feel flat. Remind me of the promise, reignite the vision, restore my energy. But if none of that comes quickly, let it be enough that I know you are here. Let my confidence be built not on outcomes, but on your unchanging nature. Let the middle no longer be a place I dread, but a place where I grow, where I become more like you, where I discover endurance, and where I build a kind of faith that lasts. As I continue this day, let my footsteps echo with quiet faith. Let my choices reflect trust. Let my posture remain open, not closed by weariness. Let me bless this middle place, not because it is easy, but because it is sacred. It is where perseverance is planted. It is where intimacy with you deepens. It is where endurance becomes worship. And it is here, in this very place, that you are forming something eternal. I choose to stay. I choose to believe. I choose to walk by faith right here in the middle. Father, as I remain here in the middle, learning to walk with steady faith through seasons that stretch me, I feel something else stirring, a quiet expectation, not the kind rooted in control or certainty, but the kind that whispers of hope without demand, the kind that trusts without needing to dictate how or when. This morning, I bring you my expectations not to instruct you, but to surrender them. I offer them not as ultimatums, but as signs that I still believe you move. Lord, you know my heart. You know how easily I fall into thinking that expectation means insisting on a specific outcome, how I sometimes confuse faith with strategy, how I start believing that my prayers must come true in a particular way to be valid. But you are not a system to be predicted. You are not a formula to be solved. You are God, creative, sovereign. Love in your ways are higher than mine. So instead of clinging to my expectations with tight fists, I place them in your hands with reverence. God, I want to live with anticipation, not for a certain result, but for your presence to show up in whatever way you choose. I want to wake each day looking not for what I planned, but for how you might surprise me. I want to expect your goodness without limiting its form. I want to wait with open hands and a quiet spirit, ready to receive what I do not even know I need. Father, teach me how to hope deeply and hold lightly. Let my heart be filled with faith, but free from demand. Let me dream boldly without turning dreams into idols. Let me plan responsibly without assuming I can see the full picture. Let me pray with courage, but trust you enough to let go of the timeline and shape of the answer. Expectation becomes holy when it rests not in outcomes, but in who you are. Lord, I lay before you every hope I have carried in silence, the ones I am afraid to say out loud because I do not want to be disappointed, the ones I have tucked away after too many delays, the ones that still live quietly beneath the surface, longing to rise again. I bring you the hope for healing, for reconciliation, for clarity, for open doors, for restoration. I do not bring these things with entitlement. I bring them with humility, knowing that you see far more than I do. God, if you fulfill these hopes in the way I imagined, I will thank you. And if you fulfill them in a completely different form, I will thank you still, because I am learning that your answers are often better than my requests, even when they arrive wrapped in discomfort. So today I release the blueprint. I let go of the script. I say, do what only you can do, and I trust that it will be enough. Father, help me notice the posture of my heart when I wait. If anxiety rises, help me return to trust. If control creeps in, help me release it. If doubt begins to echo louder than truth, help me remember what you have already done. Let expectation draw me closer to you, not further into myself. Let it become a place of intimacy, where I sit in anticipation, not because I am owed anything, because I know you are good. Lord, I ask you to purify my motives. If my expectations are driven by pride or fear, show me gently. If I am trying to prove something through my prayers, shift my focus back to love. If I am clinging to a dream that is not from you, loosen my grip and place in its place something better. I do not want to use prayer as a bargaining tool. I want prayer to be the space where my desires are reshaped into something holy. God, I thank you that I do not have to shrink my hopes to protect myself from disappointment. I can bring them to you in full honesty and trust that whatever comes, I will be held. Let hope rise again where it has grown cold. Let longing breathe again where it has been silenced. Let joy return even before fulfillment. Teach me to rejoice in the waiting, not because it is easy, but because you are present in it. Father, when I walk through today, let my spirit carry this expectation like light in my chest. Not heavy, not anxious, not frantic but soft, steady and full of peace. Let it change how I speak to others, how I respond to slow moments, how I see interruptions. Let me expect goodness in small places. Let me anticipate your presence in ordinary moments. Let me believe that each step I take is toward something meaningful, even if I do not yet know what it is. Lord, I trust that you are never indifferent to what I carry. You hear even the faintest longing. You respond not only to my loud cries, but to the quiet ache of the heart that still dares to hope. So I keep my hands open. I keep my heart soft. I walk forward with expectation, not as a demand, but as an act of worship. You are not only the God who gives, you are the God who knows exactly what to give, when to give it, and how to give it in ways that shape me for eternity. As this day unfolds, let my life say one simple thing: I am expectant, but I trust you more than the outcome. I may not know how things will unfold, but I know the one who holds it all. And that is enough for my heart to wait with peace, walk with courage, and live with hope. Father, as I sit with this posture of surrendered expectation, no longer demanding outcomes, but delighting in your will, I begin to notice the quiet alignment you are creating within me. My heart is starting to believe again. My hope is beginning to stretch. And now, I sense that it is time for my whole self to come into agreement with what you are doing, not just in spirit, but in word and action too. I do not want faith to live only in my thoughts. I want it to show up in how I speak, how I walk, and how I respond to the world around me. Lord, I ask you to bring harmony to my inner life. Let what I think, what I say, and how I move all flow from the same place of trust. I do not want to speak truth but walk in fear. I do not want to think hope but speak defeat. I do not want to believe you can, and then live like you want. I want every part of me to be in step with you. I want my mind, my mouth, and my movement to echo the same confession: you are faithful, you are near, and you are working, even when I cannot yet see. God, begin with my thoughts. You know how quickly they can drift, how easily doubt, fear, and old lies try to set up camp in the quiet corners of my mind. When the day is still and the noise fades, thoughts come quickly. Some are true, some are not. I ask you to renew my thinking so that I am no longer ruled by old narratives. Replace the patterns of panic with rhythms of peace. Replace shame with identity. Replace scarcity with abundance. Let my thoughts be grounded, not in how I feel, but in who you are. Father, I invite you into the internal dialogue that no one else hears, the loop of inner commentary that can discourage me before the day even begins. When I wake up already feeling behind, when I rehearse past failures, when I assume the worst, I ask you to interrupt that cycle. Let truth take the lead. Let scripture take root. Let your voice be louder than fear, softer than shame, and truer than every distorted echo of my past. Make my mind a place where faith lives, where peace stays, where clarity rests. Lord, once you settle my mind, let my words follow. Help me become more aware of what I speak, not only to others, but to myself. Help me catch the sighs that carry hopelessness, the sentences that shrink my spirit, the phrases I have adopted that were never from you. I do not want to speak out of habit. I want to speak from healing. I do not want to speak as a reaction to fear. I want to speak as a response to truth. God, let my words carry weight, not the kind that crushes, but the kind that builds. Let them lift others. Let them declare life over dead places. Let them bring light into rooms clouded by doubt. Teach me to speak less when silence is sacred, and more when encouragement is needed. Let my language match the hope I carry. Let my conversations reflect the peace you have given me. Let my voice, even when quiet, echo with assurance that you are good. Father, then bring my body into alignment too. Let what I do match what I believe. Let my actions be the visible fruit of the invisible faith you are cultivating in me. If I trust you, let it show in how I forgive, how I serve, how I show up. If I believe you are working, let it be seen in the steps I take even when the outcome is uncertain. Let obedience be my rhythm, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is uncomfortable. Lord, help me move without waiting to feel brave. Help me move when you speak, even if my heart is still catching up. Let my feet go where faith leads. Let my hands extend when compassion calls. Let my decisions reflect not the fear of the moment, but the faith in your eternal presence. Let my posture mirror peace. Let my responses reflect wisdom. Let everything about how I walk through this day point back to a quiet, rooted trust in you. God, I know that alignment is not perfection. It is not getting everything right. It is choosing again and again to return to you when I drift. It is noticing when my words carry fear instead of hope, and choosing to speak differently. It is pausing when my thoughts spiral and inviting you back into the center. It is stepping forward when every part of me wants to retreat. Alignment is not about image, it is about intimacy. It is about walking so closely with you that my life begins to sound like your voice, look like your love, and move with your peace. Father, I ask you to correct me gently when I fall out of step, when I start to speak from fear or act from striving. Nudge me back. When I begin to think like someone who has been forgotten, remind me I am deeply known. When I feel disconnected, invite me again into unity, not just with you, but with myself. Let every part of me sing the same song. A song of faith, a song of hope, a song of quiet strength that grows not from effort, but from communion with you. Lord, as I carry this alignment into today, let it become my anchor. When pressure comes, let my mind be calm. When conflict arises, let my words be soft. When obstacles appear, let my steps be steady. Let me respond to life not from scattered parts, but from a whole, aligned heart. Let this agreement within me make room for clarity, for peace, for power not my own, but yours flowing through me. So here I am, bringing you all of me, my thoughts, my words, my movement. Shape them, align them, breathe through them. Let every part of me come into agreement with your truth, so that I do not simply believe in theory, but walk in fullness. Let my life be a living echo of trust, a quiet song of surrender, a steady rhythm of obedience. And let that alignment become not just my posture today, but the way I live, the way I love, and the way I follow you wholeheartedly. Father, as I walk in alignment, my thoughts, my voice, my actions moving in quiet agreement with what you have spoken, I begin to feel something unexpected rise within me, not because everything has resolved, not because the waiting has ended, but because something deeper is stirring. Joy, not the loud kind that dances on mountaintops, not the kind dependent on celebration or success, but the kind that settles softly into the soul and stays. The kind that says, even here, there is goodness. I bring you this flicker of joy and ask that you would nurture it, protect it, and teach me how to live from it. Lord, you know how often I have delayed joy, waiting for certain milestones before I let myself feel light again. I have said, I will rejoice when things are easier, or I will be glad once the breakthrough comes. I have treated joy like a reward, something I have to earn, something reserved for when the pain has passed and the problems are solved. But you offer joy even now, right in the middle of the unknown. You invite me to drink deeply from gladness even when the circumstances have not shifted. God, teach me that joy is not a denial of hardship. It is not ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. Joy is the quiet confidence that you are still good. It is the steady awareness that I am held, no matter the storm. It is choosing to lift my eyes and see beauty even when I am tired, even when nothing has changed, even when all I have is your presence and my breath. That is enough. Father, I ask you to restore the parts of me that forgot how to smile without a reason, the places within me that became numb from disappointment, the areas where hope grew heavy and joy began to feel like a luxury instead of a birthright. Return to me the joy of simply being with you, the joy of stillness, the joy of small things, the joy that rises not from performance, but from peace. Lord, help me release the pressure to feel happy and instead root myself in holy joy. Happiness can come and go with moods and moments, but joy, the kind you offer, is a river that runs deeper than my feelings. Let me access that river. Let it flow into places that have been dry. Let it bubble up in laughter that surprises me, in gratitude that catches me off guard, in moments of quiet wonder that remind me you are still near. God, I want to carry joy without fear. Sometimes I brace myself, afraid that if I let my guard down and enjoy the moment, something bad will follow. But you are not the God who teases me with hope only to take it away. You are the God who delights in my delight, who rejoices over me with singing. So I choose to let joy in. I choose to dance, even if only in my heart. I choose to notice light. I choose to laugh out loud. I choose to celebrate progress, no matter how small. Father, show me how to cultivate joy in everyday places. Let it rise in the warmth of sunlight on my skin, in the quiet sip of morning coffee, in the softness of a kind word or the rhythm of a familiar song. Let me not miss joy because I am too focused on fixing things. Let me not rush past the present because I am trying to reach the future. Let me gather moments of joy like seeds small, sacred, planted deep in the soil of trust. Lord, let my joy become contagious, not performative, but real. Let it overflow from a place of authenticity. Let my presence bring light to heavy rooms, not because I have all the answers, but because I carry something unshaken. Let me be someone who weeps with those who weep, but also laughs freely with those who rejoice. Let joy become part of my testimony, that even in the middle, even in the waiting, even in the you gave me the grace to smile again. God, protect my joy from cynicism. Guard it from comparison. Shield it from the lie that says it is not worth feeling until everything is perfect. Let it live alongside grief and faith and hope and mystery. Let it rise even when I have more questions than answers. Let it be enough that you are with me and that you have not changed. That alone is a reason to rejoice. Father, I ask you to surprise me with joy today, in moments I least expect it, in places that once felt heavy, in situations I had given up on. Let joy become a signpost reminding me that you are still working, still weaving, still writing beauty into the pages of my life. Let me stop waiting for joy to arrive and start walking in the joy you have already given. As I enter this day, let joy not be something I chase, but something I carry. Let it soften the hard places. Let it lift the burdens. Let it reframe the waiting. Let it turn ordinary hours into sacred space. I choose joy not as a feeling, but as a position of the heart, not because I understand everything, but because I trust the one who holds it all. Joy is here. Joy is now. Joy is mine not because of what I have, but because of who you are. Father, as I let joy take root, not tied to outcomes, but anchored in your presence, I begin to see more clearly the kind of life you are shaping in me. A life that is not just peaceful and steady, but grounded in authority, not the kind the world recognizes, loud or forced or built on control, but a gentle authority, a quiet strength that knows who it belongs to. A confidence that does not need to prove or perform. I come to you now asking to grow in that kind of authority, the kind that reflects your heart, walks in your truth, and moves in your name. Lord, there was a time when I believed that being gentle meant being passive, that humility meant always backing away, that kindness meant never drawing boundaries. But you have been teaching me otherwise. You have shown me that true authority is not control over others, but alignment under you, that it is not about rising above people, but walking faithfully in the purpose you have placed in my hands, that it is possible to be humble and firm, soft and strong, rooted and kind. God, show me where I have been living small out of fear, not humility, where I have dimmed my voice not because you asked me to be quiet, but because I was afraid of being wrong. Show me where I have avoided responsibility because I'd not feel ready, where I have hesitated to lead because I thought authority belonged only to the loud or the flawless. I ask you now to correct that belief, not with shame, but with clarity, not with pressure, but with presence. Father, You have given me influence even if it is just over one life. One moment. One decision. You have entrusted me with something. A story. A voice. A circle of impact. I do not want to carry it carelessly, nor do I want to carry it fearfully. Teach me how to walk in the authority you have assigned to me, not for status or power, but for stewardship. Let me lead where you have called me to lead. Let me speak when you have asked me to speak. Let me step forward when you have opened the door, even if my knees still tremble. Lord, let my authority look like yours, the kind that kneels to wash feet, the kind that speaks truth without shouting, the kind that casts out fear but never casts away people, the kind that breaks chains without breaking bruised hearts. You carried power and tenderness. You moved in miracles without ever needing to dominate. You called out demons but welcomed children. Teach me to walk in that balance. God, help me stand firm when it is easier to fold. When pressure comes to compromise what I know is right. Give me conviction, not from pride, but from trust in you. When situations call for clarity, give me courage to name what must be named. When others depend on my voice, help me speak with both strength and grace. Let my presence bring peace to the room, not because I demand it, but because I carry it. Father, help me use my voice with wisdom. Let it not echo frustration or self-defense. Let it not seek applause or validation. Let it be led by your Spirit, shaped by your word, and rooted in love. Let me know when to speak up and when to listen, when to step in and when to step back. Let my words carry the weight of truth, but the warmth of compassion. And when I must say hard things, let them be said with clean hands and a soft heart. Lord, authority also means responsibility. And I confess that sometimes I have wanted the influence without the weight. I have wanted the platform without the pressure. But true leadership is not about position, it is about service. Teach me to serve well, not just when it is visible, but when it is unseen. Not just when I feel inspired, but when I feel invisible. Let me pour out even when it is inconvenient. Let me stay consistent even when it is quiet. Let me be faithful with what you have given, even if no one claps, even if it is only you who sees. God, I pray against the spirit of comparison that tries to measure my impact against others. I am not called to carry what belongs to them. I am called to be faithful with what belongs to me. Remind me that influence is not always loud, that authority is not always obvious, that some of the most powerful people in the kingdom are those who pray in silence, serve without spotlight, and show up every day without recognition. Let me become one of them. Father, I want to walk in authority that brings freedom, not fear, that invites others to rise, not shrink, that reflects not just skill or knowledge, but character shaped by you. Let the authority I carry be built not on titles, but on trust, not on charisma, but on consistency. Let it rise from integrity, flow through compassion, and lead others not to me, but always to you. So as I step into today, let me walk in this quiet strength. Let me carry authority like a gentle current beneath the surface. Let me take up space where you have called me to take up space, and make room for others where you have called me to lift them. Let my presence carry the aroma of peace. not pressure. Let my leadership reflect service, not self. And let my confidence come not from what I know, or what I have done, but from who you are, and the unshakable truth that you go before me, stand beside me, and live within me. That is where my authority begins. That is where it will remain. Father, as I continue walking in the quiet authority you have entrusted to me, not one built on force, but shaped by surrender, I realize there is one more place where I still struggle to stand steady. It is the space disappointment leaves behind. That slow, dull ache when things did not go the way I hoped. That fragile place in my soul that still flinches when promises seem delayed or outcomes fall short. So I come to you now, not just with my strength, but with my softness, not with declarations, but with questions. I bring you my disappointment, not to dwell in it, but to invite you into it. Lord, you know every place where expectation met silence, every dream that has not unfolded, every door I thought would open but did not, every person I trusted who pulled away, every moment I believed for more and was met with less. I have tried to carry it quietly, tried to say, "It is fine," and keep moving. But unspoken disappointment still weighs heavy over time. So instead of hiding it, I lay it down, not in bitterness, not in blame, but in honesty. Because you are not afraid of my truth, you welcome it. God, I used to think disappointment meant I lacked faith, that feeling let down meant I had not trusted you enough. But now I am beginning to understand that disappointment is not the absence of faith, it is the evidence that I dared to hope, that I opened my heart, that I leaned into something I could not control. So if I feel the ache of disappointment today, let it not become shame. Let it be something I bring close to you, something you can hold, something you can transform. Father, I know you never promised me a life without pain, but you did promise me your presence in every moment. So I ask you to draw close to the parts of me that feel worn out from trying. I ask you to speak truth into the gaps between what I prayed, what I see. Remind me that delay is not denial, that you do not waste my waiting, that behind the scenes of what looks like silence, you are still weaving purpose I cannot yet perceive. Lord, help me not build theology around disappointment. Dante, let me rewrite who you are based on what I did not receive. Dante, let my temporary pain reshape eternal truth. You are still good. You are still kind. You are still for me, even when the outcomes do not look like I imagined. Anchor me again in your character, not my circumstances, in your promises, not my predictions, in your presence, not the results. God, I bring you the dreams that feel like they are slipping through my fingers. I bring you the plans I thought were certain. I bring you the things I thought would happen by now. And I ask you for the strength to keep walking even when my hands feel empty. Teach me to keep showing up, to keep loving, to keep believing, not out of obligation, because hope still lives in me, however faint. However flickering, it still burns. Father, restore wonder to my disappointed places. Let joy meet sorrow. Let purpose meet pain. Let me see beauty again in things I thought were broken. And if some things are truly gone, truly closed, truly truly done, then give me peace enough to release them without resentment. Let me grieve without despair. Let me cry without losing hope. Let me trust that what you remove, you replace in better ways, even if I do not yet understand. Lord, I also ask you to help me stay tender. Disappointment can make me guarded. It can make me shrink. It can tempt me to stop hoping in order to protect myself. But I do not want to become hardened. I want to stay open. I want to keep my heart soft enough to feel, even if that means I might hurt again, because to love, to serve, to live fully, I have to be willing to risk. And I trust that you will catch me when I fall, heal me when I ache, meet me when I falter. God, help me release the timelines I have built in my head, the ones where I thought I would be further along, the silent pressure to hit certain milestones, the inner voice that whispers, "You should be more by now." I reject that voice. I choose instead to believe that I am not late. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am exactly where I need to be to encounter you today. And in this moment, that is enough. Father, help me learn from disappointment without living in it. Let it deepen me, not define me. Let it stretch my character, not shrink my spirit. Let it make me more compassionate toward others who carry silent sorrow. Let me walk with them gently, speak with kindness, offer comfort without fixing. Let disappointment be the soil where empathy grows, the place where I become more like you. So as I step into this day, I do so not pretending that everything feels easy. I do so holding space for both sorrow and strength. I carry the ache and the awe. I live with the unknown, but also with the unshakable truth that you are still with me. I will not let disappointment become my identity. I will not let delay be the thief of my joy. I will not let pain have the last word, because you are still writing the story. And I trust you with every chapter, even this one. Lord, as I release the weight of disappointment and choose not to let it define my story, I find myself standing in a sacred and vulnerable place, a place where letting go makes room for trust to be rebuilt. And I realize that trusting again after disappointment is not always instant. Sometimes it feels like learning to walk all over again, one trembling step at a time. But here I am, not with a perfect faith, but with a willing one. I offer you my trust not because I have everything figured out, but because I am learning to believe again that you are still good, even after things fell apart. Father, you know how easy it is to retreat into self-protection when trust has been broken, to build quiet walls, not out of anger, but out of fear. I have said with my mouth that I still believe, but parts of my heart have stayed hidden behind folded arms and guarded eyes. Not because I do not want to trust, but because I do not want to be hurt again. But trust is not the same as pretending. Trust is not blind. Trust is a choice, a decision to place my weight on something more solid than feeling. And today, I place that weight on you. God, help me trust you again with the parts of my life I have tried to manage on my own, the dreams I shelved, the relationships I stepped back from, the prayers I stopped praying. You see how I have continued to show up, but maybe with less fire, with less expectation, with fewer risks. And I do not want to live like that. I do not want to walk through life cautiously circling promises. I want to walk straight into them with bold, childlike belief that you are still writing good things for me. Lord, I know trust does not mean I will never feel afraid again, but it means I choose to keep showing up anyway. It means I choose to say yes when you call me forward. It means I open my heart again to new things, to healed things, to unexpected things. So today, I stretch my hands forward again, not to grasp for control, but to surrender what I tried to carry alone. I trust you with the pieces I do not understand, with the timelines I do not control, with the people I can fix, with the future I can predict. Father, I also ask you to help me trust myself again. Because when things go wrong, I do not just question you, I often turn inward with blame. I wonder if I misstepped, misunderstood. I replay decisions over and over, second-guessing my instincts, my wisdom, my discernment. But you never called me to be flawless. You called me to be faithful. So if I misread the moment, you are still big enough to redeem it. If I got it wrong, you are still close enough to lead me forward. I am not disqualified because something did not work out. I am still in your hands. God, rebuild my trust in the quiet places, not through thunderous signs, but through steady presence. Let trust become my new rhythm, small decisions, quiet yeses, unseen obedience. Let it be woven into how I wake up, how I speak, how I carry myself through hard conversations. Let it be reflected in my patience, in my gentleness, in how I rest when I am tempted to strive. Trust is not a feeling. It is an atmosphere. It is a posture. It is a way of being that says, even if I do not know what is next, I know who is with me. Lord, teach me how to trust even when the answer is still no, even when the door stays closed, even when the path takes a detour. Trust is not conditional. It does not hinge on getting what I want. It flows from knowing that you are always working toward what I need. You are wiser than I am. You are more patient than I am. And what you are building in me is not temporary comfort, but eternal strength. Father, I want my trust to become visible not in loud declarations, but in how I hold peace when others panic, in how I keep my heart soft when others grow hard, in how I stay present instead of spiraling, in how I continue loving even when love is not returned in the way I hoped. Let trust transform me from the inside out. Let it become the anchor in my emotions, the filter in my decisions, the fire in my prayers. God, I know trust can live alongside bitterness. So if there are places in me still holding on to resentment, uproot them gently. If there are voices inside still repeating lies of abandonment or failure, silence them with truth. If there is any shame lingering from what did not go as planned, wash it with your grace. Let nothing block the wellspring of trust you are restoring in me. Let trust not just be something I offer you, but something I begin to live out toward others again. Lord, show me the beauty of trusting day by day, not in giant leaps, but in small, faithful moments. A kind word, a quiet prayer, a surrendered plan, an unforced pace. Let these be my acts of trust. Let them become bricks in the path you are laying beneath my feet. Let trust lead me into rooms I was too afraid to enter before. Let it unlock joy I thought I had lost. Let it awaken dreams I had buried too soon. As I walk forward, remind me that trusting again does not mean returning to how things were. It means stepping into something new with deeper wisdom. Stronger roots, softer edges, and open hands. It means I stop needing guarantees and start walking in grace. And even if all I have is enough courage to trust just for today, I know that is more than enough, because today is where you meet me. And today, I choose to trust you again, God, now that I have made the decision to trust again, even after disappointment. Even after seasons of silence, I realize something beautiful and unexpected is happening beneath the surface. I am not just recovering, I am being remade. You are not simply returning me to how I was before things fell apart. You are shaping something more whole, more honest, more rooted. I bring you my heart in this moment, not to fix, but to continue forming. And I ask you to finish what you have begun, to lead me into true, deep wholeness. Father, I used to think whole meant flawless, that it meant everything had to be healed, fixed, resolved before I could walk in peace. But you are showing me something different. Wholeness is not perfection. It is integration. It is all the broken pieces gathered in your hands and held together by grace. It is the freedom to be fully myself, past, present, and future, without pretending, without performing. It is the ability to carry joy and sorrow together and still breathe deeply. That is the wholeness I long for, the wholeness you offer. Lord, I confess that I have spent years chasing pieces of myself I thought I had to earn back. I tried to achieve healing like a goal. I tried to prove my worth through effort, believing that if I just did more or got stronger or looked better from the outside, I would finally feel complete. But striving never brought peace. It only made the cracks deeper. And now I know, you are not asking me to prove I am whole. You are inviting me to live like I already am, because you are the one holding me together. God, I bring you the last few pieces I have been hiding, the parts I have been too ashamed to name, the places I have been afraid to revisit because they carry the sting of past failure, or the echo of someone else's voice that told me I was not enough. Today, I give you permission to touch them gently, to show me that nothing in me is too broken for you to restore, that nothing about me is too far gone for you to redeem. And even if some things never return to what they were, you can make them new in ways I never imagined. Father, help me stop trying to earn what you have already given. Peace is not something I have to deserve. It is something I get to receive. Identity is not something I have to build. It is something I discover in you. Let my wholeness not be measured by whether life goes smoothly, but by how deeply I remain rooted when it does not. Let it be seen in how I respond to change, how I forgive without a grudge, how I rest without guilt, how I speak without needing to defend myself. Lord, show me what it means to live from a healed identity. Let it shape my relationships, not needing to be needed, not bending to please, not shrinking to make others comfortable. Let it guide my decisions not from fear of failure, but from confidence in who I am. Let it mark my boundaries not to push people away, but to honor what you have entrusted to me. Let it transform how I walk through rooms, not asking for permission to belong, but knowing I carry your presence wherever I go. God, I ask you to rewire the way I think about strength. Strength is not the absence of weakness. It is the willingness to be seen. It is the courage to admit I am still in process. It is the grace to start again when yesterday did not go as planned. Let that kind of strength live in me. Let it rise in how I show up to ordinary days. Let it breathe through how I comfort others. Let it steady me when the future looks unclear. Father, I want to build from this place of wholeness, to dream again, not from desperation, but from delight, to serve again, not to prove something, but because love overflows, to create again, not for applause, but because I carry your breath. I want my work to reflect balance, my rest to reflect security, my yes to reflect clarity, my no to reflect peace. Let my whole life bear the fruit of a soul that is no longer splintered. Lord, if old wounds try to speak again, remind me they no longer hold authority. If old patterns try to return, remind me I am no longer who I used to be. If the enemy whispers that I am still broken beyond use, remind me that every scar tells a story of survival, and every healed place is a testimony to your mercy. Wholeness does not mean I have forgotten what hurt me. It means what hurt me no longer controls me. God, let my wholeness bring healing to others. Let it create safety where people feel seen. Let it build bridges in places divided by fear or misunderstanding. Let it hold space for the broken without needing to fix them. Let it speak truth without shame, love without condition, peace without performance. Let people leave conversations with me feeling lighter, not because I solved their pain, but because I reminded them they are not alone. As I live this day, help me remember that I do not need to chase healing anymore. I only need to receive it. And as I receive it, let it spill over into every part of me, into my laughter and my quiet moments, into my choices and my stillness, into my presence and my purpose. I am not half-made, half-known, half-held. I am whole in you right here, right now. Not someday. Today, this is what redemption looks like. This is what restoration feels like. This is the joy of becoming whole again. Father, as I step into the reality of being made whole again, not flawless, not untouched by life, but integrated, healed, and grounded in you, I feel the invitation to begin living not from striving, not from scarcity, but from overflow. A quiet, deep overflow that does not require pushing, proving, or performing. One that flows not from what I produce, but from who I am becoming in your presence. Today, I offer myself to you, asking not to be filled just enough to survive, but to be filled to the point that everything I touch carries evidence of your abundance. Lord, for so long I have lived in a pattern of survival, even when things seemed calm on the outside, carried the quiet fear that it could all slip away. I moved from obligation, from endurance, from need. And you met me there. You sustained me. But now, I feel you calling me into a new rhythm. One where I am not constantly giving from depletion, but pouring from fullness, not out of duty, but out of delight, not because I am trying to meet every need, but because I am aligned with what you have placed in my hands. God, I ask you to teach me how to live from this overflow. Let it begin in my mind where thoughts no longer spiral from fear, but flow from trust, where I do not have to overanalyze every decision or control every outcome, but instead return to peace again and again. Let the overflow of wholeness soften how I see the world. Let me become someone who leads with mercy, responds with gentleness, and carries quiet authority without needing to dominate the room. Father, let overflow reshape how I relate to others. When I am full of grace, I do not have to compete. When I am full of compassion, I do not rush to judge. When I am full of love, I do not withhold kindness to protect my pride. Let me give without calculation. Let me serve without resentment. Let me listen without defensiveness. Let what you have poured into me spill naturally into how I treat people, not as a performance, but as an extension of who I am becoming through you. Lord, I surrender the tendency to shrink when overflow calls me to expand. Sometimes, even abundance feels uncomfortable. I am so used to bracing for loss that I hesitate when joy flows freely. I question it. I hold back. But you are not a God who only gives in pieces. You are the God of more than enough. So let me receive fully without guilt. Let me celebrate fully without fear. Let me rest fully without shame. Let me walk with open hands, not only to give, but to receive what you have so generously made available. God, overflow is not about excess. It is about saturation. Saturation of peace. Saturation of presence. Saturation of identity. When I am saturated in you, I do not have to manufacture strength. I do not have to pretend to be okay. I do not have to work for love. I live from it. I move in it. I offer it freely because it has changed everything within me. I am not trying to earn a place. I am already seated in grace. Father, let overflow become visible in the atmosphere around me. Let my home reflect peace, not pressure. Let my conversations reflect curiosity, not competition. Let my work reflect meaning, not mere productivity. Let my relationships reflect safety, not striving. Let my decisions be birthed from discernment, not from panic or people-pleasing. Let my whole life become an offering that says, I am full, and it is from this fullness that I serve. Lord, overflow also means discernment. I am not called to pour everywhere all at once. I need your wisdom to know where to pour, when to pause, and how to be refilled when life depletes me again. Teach me to guard my yes with grace, to rest without explanation, to honor the boundaries you have called me to set. Let overflow not become overextension. Let it remain rooted in relationship, not reaction. God, in this season, let overflow redefine my pace. I do not want to rush just because I can. I do not want to overcommit just because there is room on the calendar. Let fullness become my filter, not urgency. Let your spirit become my schedule, not pressure. And when the world says do more, Teach me to pause and ask, is this from overflow or from lack? Let that question lead me into alignment over and over again. Father, overflow is not flashy. Sometimes it looks like peace in chaos, a calm yes in a loud world, a simple act of generosity, a well-timed word, an unshakable joy. Let me not seek grand displays, but quiet consistency. Let my life speak of depth, of rootedness, of something unshakable flowing through me that does not come from me. Let people encounter you not just in my words, but in my presence, in the way I carry grace, in the way I hold space, in the way I stay present when others would run. Lord, thank you for not just refilling me, but for transforming me into a vessel that can pour without breaking. Thank you for every season that taught me to be still, for every disappointment that deepened my well, for every moment of surrender that widened the space for more of you. I now understand that overflow was never about being more impressive. It was always about becoming more available. And I choose to be available to you wholly, fully, freely, as I walk into this day. Let everything I do flow from what you have already placed within me. Let it ripple out in how I speak, how I listen, how I rest, how I build. Let it be slow, steady, sacred, not hurried, not pressured, not desperate, but holy. And let every drop that spills out of me draw others, not to my strength, but to yours. Because you are the well that never runs dry, and I live from you, not from lack, from overflow, Lord, as I have begun to live from overflow, not from exhaustion or survival, but from the fullness you have cultivated within. I feel you drawing my heart into something even deeper. This is not just a season of abundance, but a preparation for longevity. I sense you asking me to not just experience wholeness and joy for a moment, but to stay rooted for the long journey ahead. Because overflow is not an end, it is a foundation. And now, you are teaching me how to remain, to be steady, to endure with grace, and to grow strong over time. Father, I used to be addicted to moments, breakthroughs, revelations, high points. I thought strength was found in intensity, in chasing the next big thing. But you are showing me that true strength is found in consistency, in daily returning, in small obediences, in quiet faithfulness when nothing seems to change. You are not building something that burns bright and fades fast. You are planting me like a tree, deep roots, steady growth, lasting fruit. God, I ask you to deepen my roots. Let my faith not be shallow, dependent on convenience or comfort. Let it run far beneath the surface, anchored in who you are, not in how I feel or what I see. When winds of uncertainty blow, let me bend, not break. When disappointment comes again, let me remain, not retreat. When other paths seem quicker, easier, louder, let me stay on the one you have called me to. Even if it is slower and quieter, teach me to love the slow work you do in me. Lord, help me embrace this rootedness. It is not always exciting, but it is what builds legacy. It is what sustains peace. It is what carries wisdom. I do not want to start strong but end in burnout. I want to walk with you all the way through seasons of abundance and through valleys of silence, through open doors and through long waits, through answered prayers and through questions that linger. Let my soul become a place where your presence is always welcome, no matter the season. Father, I ask you to help me find joy in the mundane. Rootedness is not glamorous. It often means doing the same thing again and again, praying when I do not feel like it, serving when no one sees, resting when my mind wants to rush. But it is in these hidden places that you are doing the deepest work. Forming character, shaping identity, creating depth. Let me stop measuring impact by visibility. Let me start valuing obedience even when it is invisible. God, if you are building endurance in me, I receive it not as a burden, but as a gift. I do not want a fragile faith that only survives on sunshine. I want the kind of faith that digs in when the storm comes, the kind that trusts you in the dark, the kind that sings even with scraped knees. I want to be a person who stays when it is easier to leave, who forgives again when bitterness whispers to build walls, who believes when logic says it is time to quit. Let this be the fruit of rootedness. Lord, help me guard what you have given, not with fear, but with reverence. Let me protect the peace you have planted in me. Let me nurture the joy that has taken root. Let me water the seeds you have placed in my hands. Even when growth feels slow, I refuse to despise the process. I refuse to rush what you are shaping. If you are calling me to dig deeper before I grow wider, I will trust that the depth will hold me when the weight of calling increases. Father, when old patterns try to pull me back into urgency or chaos, remind me that I have been called to a different pace. When the world shouts for instant results, help me choose steady transformation. When others sprint ahead, let me bless their path while staying faithful to mine. Rooted does not mean stagnant, it means stable. It means unmoved by every trend, every wave, every whim. It means trusting that slow obedience is still obedience. God, let me be rooted in your love, not in people's approval, not in accomplishments, not in performance. Let everything I do flow from the truth that I am already fully loved, fully known, fully accepted. When I forget, gently remind me. When I start striving again, draw me back. When I feel overlooked, reassure me that you see. I do not need to fight for my place when you have already made room for me. Lord, let this rooted life become a refuge for others. Let the peace that steadies me extend to those around me. Let my consistency create safety. Let my presence point people back to you, not through eloquence or charisma, but through quiet love, enduring kindness, unwavering truth. Let me be the kind of person who can be trusted with pain, who can be leaned on in storms, who carries your spirit even when no words are spoken. Father, thank you for staying with me in every season, for not leaving when I was inconsistent, for planting truth in me when I could barely hear it, for walking with me until my roots reached deeper ground. I know I did not get here alone, and I know I want to stay here on my own. So I continue depending on you not just to sustain me, but to keep deepening me, to keep anchoring me as I live today. Let me not be shaken. Let me not be hurried. Let me not be distracted. Let me live as one who is planted in grace, watered by truth, nourished by love. Let every step I take, every word I speak, every seed I sow come from this rooted place. Not because I have arrived, but because I have remained, and remaining in you is always enough. Father, as I have learned to remain rooted in you not just in moments of clarity, but in seasons of waiting and slow growth, I now feel the still, holy truth that has been rising beneath everything. I have never made it this far on my own. Every breath, every small act of obedience, every gentle return to peace has been carried by your grace. Not earned, not performed for. Simply received. Today, I come not to strive or to prove, but to rest again in that grace, to breathe deeply in the knowledge that what sustains me is not my strength, but yours, Lord. Grace has followed me even when I did not recognize it. It walked beside me when I thought I was walking alone. It whispered peace when anxiety echoed louder. It pulled me back from edges I did not know I was standing on. I used to think grace was something that appeared only when I failed, a soft place to land after a fall. But now I see it for what it truly is, your very presence, surrounding me, filling the gaps, going before me and behind me, not as a response to failure, but as the rhythm of how you love. God, I confess how easily I slip back into self-reliance, how quickly I begin to carry things that are not mine to hold. I take on burdens that you never asked me to carry. I set expectations on myself you never spoke. I measure my progress by the world's pace instead of listening for your voice. And every time I do, I feel the strain, the weariness, the slow unraveling, but grace waits patiently. Never demanding, only inviting me to return, to loosen my grip, to lean into the flow of your sufficiency again. Father, I need you to remind me today that grace is not just a one-time pardon. It is a continual flow of power, strength, and kindness. It is what enables me to begin again, to forgive myself, to look ahead without fear. It is what holds me steady when my emotions shift. It is what gives me permission to grow slowly, to heal fully, to love freely, even when I do not feel ready. It is what steadies my feet on uneven ground. Lord, I bring you the places in my life where I still feel like I am falling short, the areas where I compare, where I criticize myself, where I silently question if I am enough. I bring you the fatigue that creeps in when I try to be everything for everyone. I bring you the quiet fears that whisper that rest is laziness and that grace must be repaid. And I lay them down, because grace is not a debt to be paid back, it is a gift to be lived from. And I want to live from it with open hands. God, let grace shape the way I move through the world today. Let it soften how I speak to myself in the mirror. Let it slow the pace of my inner critic. Let it widen my margin for others' mistakes. Let it deepen my compassion for the stories I do not know. Let grace pour out in my patience, my presence, my posture. Let it guide how I respond to pressure. Let it rise in how I hold space for others. Let it be the reason I keep loving when I have no reason to, and the reason I stay hopeful when logic says otherwise. Father, I want grace to color everything I do, not as a filter to avoid truth, but as a lens that sees through your heart. Let me speak the truth in love, not from pride. Let me lead from humility, not from pressure. Let me make room at my table, even for those who would never ask to be seated. Let grace be the rhythm of my relationships. Let it be the tone of my emails, the kindness in my errands, the calm in my eyes. Lord, when I feel overwhelmed, let grace remind me that I am not behind, I am becoming. When I feel weak, let grace remind me that strength is not absence of struggle, but presence of perseverance. When I feel like giving up, let grace lift me again, not with a shout, but with a whisper. You are still carried. You are still chosen. You are still loved. Let those words become a melody I return to every time the noise grows too loud. God, I ask you to help me extend grace to the younger versions of myself, the one who tried so hard to be good, the one who did not know how to ask for help, the one who hid behind strength because vulnerability felt unsafe. Help me release regret. Help me release shame. Let grace rewrite the story I have told myself about who I am and how far I have come. Let it fill in the cracks I tried to hide. Let it turn what I saw as failure into foundations. Father, I see now that grace is not just what gets me through hard moments. It is what makes the ordinary ones beautiful. It is what allows me to find joy in a quiet morning, to laugh without guilt, to weep without fear, to be fully human and still fully held. Let that awareness follow me through today. Let it change how I breathe, how I notice, how I remain present, not rushing ahead, not looking back, but rooted in this moment, carried by grace. As I continue this journey with you, may I never lose the wonder of grace. May I never outgrow the need for it. May I never try to replace it with effort or intellect or image. May I always remember that every good thing, every healed place, every word of peace, every step of growth has been grace upon grace, unfolding in layers, leading me closer to wholeness, not through striving, but through surrender. And that surrender is the place where grace always meets me, again and again. Lord, after this long and winding journey through fear and surrender, through sorrow and renewal, through silence and healing, I find myself here, not at an ending, but at a threshold. And what I carry now is no longer the desperate cry of someone seeking answers, the steady breath of someone learning to dwell in you. I come to this moment with quiet reverence, not because I have arrived, because I have discovered how to stay, how to trust, how to breathe, how to be. Father, you have walked with me through shadows I was afraid to name. You have sat with me in grief I thought would never lift. You have whispered to me when I doubted you most. You have remained when I wanted to run. And more than anything else, you have never asked me to become anything but honest before you. Not strong, not perfect, just willing. just here, just present. And somehow, that presence became transformation. God, I do not know what tomorrow holds. I do not know which prayers will be answered the way I long for, and which ones will stretch me into patience. But I know this: I do not walk alone. I do not walk empty. I do not walk in shame, and I do not walk in fear. I walk with the imprint of your grace on my spirit, the sound of your peace in my chest, and the quiet courage that comes from knowing I am held. Lord, I ask for one thing now: not more strength, not more signs, not even more words, but more stillness, the kind of stillness that knows you will still be God, even when I stop moving, even when I grow quiet, even when I sit in the middle of the day and let the moment simply be. Let stillness be my sanctuary, not something I resist, something I return to. Let me carry it like an inner light, a steady flame you lit inside me long before I could see it clearly. Father, may I never forget how far you have brought me, not by force, but by invitation, not by pressure, but by presence. And may the memory of these quiet morning moments stay close, not as distant echoes, but as living seeds planted deep in my soul. Let them bloom again in moments I do not expect, in the way I forgive more quickly, love more freely, wait more patiently. Let their fruit be seen not in what I achieve, but in how I remain soft, how I remain open, how I remain yours. God, I pray for every heart that has traveled this path alongside me, for every listener, every soul who whispered these prayers into the dawn, into the still hours of morning. I pray they have felt seen, not just by these words, but by you. I pray they have found in this journey a mirror, a melody, a lifeline, and more than anything, I pray they have found you not as a distant figure, but as a faithful friend who walks with them still. Lord, as we step forward into whatever comes next, let these prayers become more than words. Let them become posture. Let them become atmosphere. Let them become a rhythm we return to, not out of habit, but out of love. Let them remind us that we are not starting over, we are continuing deeper. That we are not lost, we are being led. That we are not forgotten, we are fully known and still fully loved. Thank you, deeply, for every soul who has made it here. You did not rush. You stayed. You listened. You breathed. You gave yourself the gift of stillness, of presence, of prayer. That alone is holy. That alone is brave. If these words have met you in a season of silence, I honor your quiet courage. If they found you in tears, I honor your strength. If they walked with you through joy, I honor your light. You are not alone on this road, and you never have been. Please feel free to share your reflections, your prayers, or even just your presence in the space below. Sometimes a simple sentence becomes someone else's reminder that they are not walking this road in isolation. We are learning together, healing together, growing toward light together. If this journey has met you in a meaningful way, I invite you to subscribe to this channel so we can continue walking forward, one sunrise at a time. Share this video with someone who needs it. Someone tired. Someone afraid. Someone searching. You never know whose dawn might be sparked by a quiet voice in the dark. And now, as the light breaks through the horizon and the hush of morning shifts gently into motion, I leave you here with a heart still, a spirit full, and a peace that flows like a slow river winding toward the sea. No final words. Only breath. Only grace. Only the sound of the wind, soft as a whisper, moving through the leaves like a promise that keeps returning with the morning.